Oh!
How long have you been playing Team Fortress?
I've been playing Team Fortress about 5 years now.
What got you into Team Fortress?
I was in a team that was owned by one of the best teams. I was in a CSS team that was owned by one of the best TF2 teams at the time, Weapons of Rebellion. It was a team that Byte was in. Obviously he's in TCM now. I watched some demos of him, thought it looked really cool, and just started playing and watching more really.
How did you get into esports generally to start?
I started playing a game called Paintball, Digital Paintball. It's something I saw people playing on Xfire, and that kind of furthered my interest in games in general on the computer. So I started playing Wolfenstein Enemy Territory as well. And then that went into, because I figured I liked FPS games then, so I went on to Counter-Strike, CSS, and then TF2.
What do you get out of playing esport games?
Honestly, I just like competing at the highest level possible in the game, especially in TF2. There's so many teams at the top at the moment. I just like how competitive the entire community is. It's just what I like competing and trying to be the best.
Why do you play Demoman?
Because when I first started trying to pick it up, I heard it was the hardest class, so I wanted a challenge. So I picked it up and tried it, and I've enjoyed it since.
What do you think about the role that a Demoman's supposed to play and his part as a team?
I think it's probably the hardest role, and it gives for as little mistakes as the medic does. You can't overextend, you can't forget about sticky traps, you can't misclick, you can't forget to watch an area, you can't stop watching an area. You have to do your job as well as you possibly can to help your team. It's exactly the same as a medic. You can't make any mistakes as a medic either. Whereas something like a soldier or a scout, there's two of you. It makes there's a little more room for mistakes there. You can overextend a little bit. So I just
What does a team need to do to best improve their Demoman?
Protect them. The game is all about Demoman at the moment. If you can protect your Demoman, make sure he can get the most damage output as he possibly can, you'll win, basically.
What are your thoughts on this event and the Americans attending it?
I think the Americans have wowed everybody, to be honest. They've put in so much more effort. They're far more professional than the Europeans. I mean, everybody over here they're more focused on the partying and the drinking, really. And then the Americans have come over, they've been practicing, they've been talking tactics with each other, they've been even asking us for PCWs, scrims. So I mean, we weren't expecting that, and it shows the results.
Did you follow the American scene much before?
I played a little bit in ESEA. I played for a team called Twin ID. I was their backup with Seagull, and I think Ruin was the medic at the time then. And I kind of stopped following it after that folded, and then so I stopped following it after they folded, and now I've heard that Ruin's one of the best scouts, so it's quite surprising. Yeah.
What are your impressions of Ruin?
He's an amazing scout, really hard. He's him and Clockwork I find are the hardest scouts to deal with. As a demo, I don't really like players that try to shut me down all the time, especially in the middle. So players like him or soldiers like Zebasai or Gear, I find them really annoying.
What are your thoughts on some of the players on the classic mix-up roster? Some of the other players?
They're all really, really strong. I'm impressed by the soldiers. I think TLR and was it Harblue? Yeah, they were really strong players. There's no one that was really a downs with them. No one let them down. No one made too many mistakes, overextended too many times. Whereas, I mean, for example, there was a time where we just killed all of them except Platinum, and there's 4 of us alive, and 2 of us rushed in to try and get him, and he got a double kill straight away. So I mean, there's nothing that I'm unimpressed by really. They played really well.
Was there any difference in tactics that surprised you, or do you think it's
They're very aggressive, really aggressive. There's no stopping them. Sometimes the Europeans, they like to stop and build Uber, talk about what we think we should do, what happened last time, and we like to talk things out mid-game, whereas Americans, they're straight in there. There's no stopping them, there's no time to think about anything. You just have to react to be able to deal with it, and they've done a lot better this time.
What are your thoughts on how the TF2 community has developed over the last 5 years?
It's quite incredible. I mean, 5 years ago, you'd never see this sort of thing happen. You'd never see like $20,000 donated to get 2 American teams over. You'd never see this many teams, about 50, 60, 70 teams at TF2 land. So it's amazing to see. I'm really happy it's happened.
How do you think TF2 compares to other esports?
We're more community-based. Everybody loves each other in this community, whereas in CSS there's a lot of rage, there's a lot of trash talk. Whereas here, there's none. Well, there is that, but it's a joke. People love each other, so it's nice.
Are there other esports that you follow?
I play League of Legends a lot, and the trash talk in that's kind of horrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How do you think the skill set of TF2 compares to other games in their skill set?
It's kind of a hard question to answer, really. Obviously, each game has their own skill set, which can't be compared to other games. For example, TF2, there's a lot of, depending on the way you play it. I mean, where I call, I use a lot of micromanagement, so it's like playing StarCraft 2, but I'm controlling my entire team. Whereas in StarCraft 2, there's none of that. Twitch aim is no muscle memory, so I can't really answer that, to be honest.
Was a good answer, though. What do you think of the support of Valve of TF2, especially in comparison to how they've treated Dota 2?
I mean, anybody will answer that they're a bit unhappy with it, but you can understand why. I mean, Dota's a game that's been as big as that is currently for a very long time, whereas TF2 is kind of, like I said earlier, it's a small community-based game. So it's not going to receive that kind of support. I mean, it's not, the stuff that they've done for us is really good already. I mean, we're featured on their website. They send us stuff for giveaways at LANs. But I think everybody would like that £1 million.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on TF2 and how kind of the general population doesn't even realize that there's a competitive side of it?
I don't know. What hurts me the most is when people. This is no offense to the Highlander community, but it hurts me the most when people want to get into Highlander rather than 6v6. So I think Highlander is much more of a spam fest. There's not as much team play involved as there is in 6v6. There's a lot more tactics and stuff. So when I hear about let's have 9v9 at MLG, not 6v6, that stuff kind of hurts a bit. Yeah, especially since I've been playing 6v6 for almost 5 years now, and 9v9 is just coming up. So.
Do you think Highlander is kind of a stepping stone for some players who? Yeah,
it's a lot easier to get into because obviously there's no. In Europe, obviously we ban a lot of the unlocks, so it's they can play with their favourite weapon over there. They can play their favourite class. So obviously over here we in 6v6 we only use soldier, scout, demo, and they can play pyro, whatever. So it's a lot easier to get into for them. Yeah.
What do you think the future holds for TF2?
I've heard a lot of good stuff, especially for Europe. I mean, I've heard about ESEA coming over here, which is obviously good. You guys have great tournaments over there, great LANs constantly all the time. So obviously I've heard about IEM as well, but run by ESL. I've heard some stuff might be happening there. And I've also, like I mentioned earlier, MLG, there's a big vote up, and TF2 had a lot of votes, so hopefully something will happen over there. I mean, it'd be nice to see a TF2 tournament at MLG.